What's up, guys? Jesse Wright here with YouCouldBe.com, and in today's video, I'm going to tell you how to not lose money in real estate. All right, guys, so the good news for you today is that if you follow the advice that I have for you in this video, not only will you not lose money overall, but you will also do far better than almost every other real estate investor out there, because you're going to be doing things in such a way that the returns are going to be incredible for you. All right, so the first thing that you need to do is you need to make sure that you're buying property so low, that it would be beyond comprehension that you could not at least sell the property for the amount that you've put into it. So if you are living in an area where property values are really high right now and you expect them to depreciate, then you're going to want to look into investing out of state. If you are in an area where there are tons of properties that go from $5,000 to $20,000, then you're probably in a great area. But you still need to be careful. You still need to watch out, because you know, if you buy a house and there's a vacant house next to it and a vacant house on the other side, and then there's a garbage dump right there, obviously, even then, even though you're buying the property for a seriously low price, you might have a hard time selling it. So keep that in mind. But the first rule is buy property that is very, very inexpensive. I know you guys weren't expecting me to say that. Number two, you need to set your rent so high that you're going to get your money back as fast as humanly possible. The faster you get your money back, the quicker you eliminate your risk for losing money. So buy low, rent high. Which brings us to number three, which is always test the limits. Don't assume that just because the median rent in that area is $750 a month, that's all you're going to be able to rent the property for. I never rent a property for less than $100 over the median rent. If you're renting your property for $150 over median rent, that's an extra $1,800 a year. That will, for most of my properties anyway, cover all of my property taxes, all of my insurance on the property, and usually leave me a little bit left over. So always be testing those limits and see if you can get more for your particular property. It doesn't matter if there's a nicer property listed on Craigslist for $200 less than what you're asking. That property is going to go to a total of one person. So keep that in mind. Test the limits, push the boundaries, and you'll get your money back faster. All right, number four is don't let the little risks get to you. I'm sure all of you want these perfect tenants with perfect credit, high income, no kids, no roommates, debt-free virgins with no tattoos, but that is probably not going to be the case. And if you spend all of your time worrying and creating contingencies for all of these things, then you're going to worry yourself right out of every single tenant that is going to want to rent your property. Our number five is finish up with your rehabs as quickly as possible. If you're going to rent your property out for $900 a month, then that averages out to about $30 a day. So every single day you waste is $30 out of your pocket. The sooner you get it rehabbed, the quicker you get your money back, the less money you waste, and the quicker you eliminate your risk. Number six, choose your products based on their life expectancy. You know, we're talking about flooring, we're talking about roofing, things like that. When you make these big repairs, you don't want to come back in 3 years and make these repairs again. That's why I don't put carpet in my house. That's why I'm slowly getting away from that laminate wood flooring that I used to put in my houses, because they only seem to last about 5 years. So think about that, because again, not only will it save you money down the road, but also it will save you time in repairs down the road. And as we just discussed, time is money. All right, number seven, try to repair and maintain as much as possible. You know, when I first became a landlord, every time my tenant called me, I freaked out. I'm like, oh my gosh, the HVAC, it's gone out. I know it's gone out. The roof, I need to replace the roof. And here's the facts. 90% of my repairs, if I did them myself, cost me less than $20. If the roof is leaking, that does not mean that you need to replace the roof. A little bit of roof tar or a couple shingles is all you need in order to stop a roof from leaking. If your water heater is not lighting up anymore. You probably don't have to replace the water heater. You probably need to spend $12 at Home Depot on a thermocouple and your water heater will work again. That's not a guarantee, but it's very likely the case. If your faucet's dripping, you probably don't have to replace the whole faucet. You can spend 50 cents on a rubber washer that goes inside of one of the two handles, and most likely it's gonna stop dripping. And that brings us to number 8, which is you really need to get to know how a house is put together, how it works. And by learning how all these repairs work, it's going to give you a far more accurate idea of what it's going to cost to rehab your properties in the future. And it's also going to help you to not get screwed by contractors that are just going to take advantage of someone that they know doesn't know what they're talking about. And lastly, number 9, it's take advantage of the homeowner's insurance that you pay for. Okay, if you have a hailstorm or a windstorm or a tornado that comes through your area, that's called an act of God. An insurance company cannot raise your rates for filing a claim because of an act of God. And as someone that has a background in the storm restoration industry, I can't tell you how many roofs I've seen completely paid for by an insurance company because there are only 1 or 2 missing shingles on the property. My advice to you is, after you have a windstorm or a hailstorm or a tornado come through, make that the time that you do your roof repairs. Go ahead and file a claim with your insurance company. Get yourself a contractor. I would actually recommend a contractor in this case that's familiar with handling insurance claims. My biggest piece of advice for you is get them to at least pay for a couple shingles, because after you get them to pay for a couple shingles, you can go back and tell them that the roof is so old and brittle that it's not repairable, and if you're going to replace those shingles, then the surrounding shingles will break. And you can prove this to them by asking them to perform what's called a brittleness test. That's where they take the shingle and they lift it up 90 degrees. Now, if it cracks, then it has failed the brittleness test, and they're supposed to replace at least that whole slope and probably the entire roof for you. All right, guys, so that's it for this video. If you found it helpful, please like, comment, subscribe, share it in all your favorite groups on Facebook, and I will see you guys in the next one.